Hello everyone. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity of being here and sharing with you today. I wish I could be there at the Black CEO conference live and in person and meet everyone, but we're going to do what we can do. We've been on the road. My wife and I have been on the road now for a little over a month. She just flew back to San Diego. I'm in Arizona. We just came from Dallas. We went from Dallas to Puerto Rico, to Miami, to all over Florida. Back to Arizona. She went to San Diego. So we're all over the place, and we're grateful though to be able to share with you. And what we know is such valuable information that everyone on this planet needs to hear. Let me give you a little history, a little background of how we got here and what we're doing. So my wife and I go back where I met her a little over 20 years ago, and at that time I was suffering from some health things, I guess, that I would call not very fun, like arthritis in my hands, acid reflux, indigestion, those types of things. I was in my mid-30s, and I didn't understand why I was feeling like this. And you know, I was already doing a little bit of research. I'd lost my mom to colon cancer, and I was trying to understand what was going on with not only my health, but how could I be more preventative with the kids and so on and so forth. So imagine 20 years ago hearing the words plant enzymes, plant medicine, stabilized probiotics, whole food supplementing, raw food. These were things that I was not familiar with, 20 some years ago. And I thought I knew a little bit about, healthy living, healthy lifestyle. Well, I quickly learned from my wife that I didn't know very much, and she enlightened me. And so the purpose of this talk for you today is to hopefully either inspire you, wake you up, encourage you, and let the truth resonate with you like it did with me. And now for the past 15 to 20 years, this is what we do. You see, we feel called to share this information. We believe this is our purpose in life. I never imagined or thought I would be doing something like this. And we don't always know, right? We don't know that the paths that we go down. We don't know where we're going to end up. And when I met my wife, I was an entrepreneur. I've always been an entrepreneur. I was a head high school football coach, and it wasn't, it didn't make sense to me. Why did my hands feel this way? And I was going to a massage therapist once a week for, a couple of years, and she would just work on my hands. I couldn't throw the ball with the guys anymore. The pain was really bad. It just didn't make sense to me. And so my wife taught me some things that I had no idea existed. And then after a few years of doing and learning and researching more, we decided to start, I guess you'd call it a business, to educate. Although it wasn't a really good business. There was no business model. There was no business strategy. It was, how the heck do we tell the world what she had enlightened me? She shared this information with me, and my body changed. My life changed. And it's frustrating to us that this information is so simple and we've all missed it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a multitude of things with you today that I would like you to take notes on. Maybe you know some of this information already. Maybe you know nothing. We're all different. We all, we come from a different place. We grow up in different geographic areas. We have a different culture back, our culture dictates, right? Our backgrounds, our foods that we eat, our lifestyle, all these things come into play, but this is not complicated. And, we like to start with the gut and healthy food, or whatever you want to call it. We don't teach diets. We teach a healthy lifestyle. We do when it comes to food. We thought Hippocrates said it correctly way back. Let food be thy medicine. So from a food perspective, let me just share with you, we're not in anything specific, except we do try to eat more fresh and living food, raw foods. Our goal each day is about 80%. But let me just kind of take a step back. We are jacked up as a generation in the United States. This is the sickest generation this country has ever seen. And I don't even, I'm not going to touch into other parts of the world. everyone has their own issues going on. And so I just want you to kind of take a step back, and I'm going to ask you to unlearn maybe what you've learned in your life, because sometimes we have to do that. If we're going to grow, we have to unlearn what we've learned so we can move forward. And that's really what happened to me. And as my wife and I started, doing this, my wife has worked with hundreds of health practitioners, doctors. She's been teaching healthy gut for the last 20 plus years. And we travel. And so what we do full time basically is we travel around different countries, but mostly in the US, and we teach healthy lifestyle. We teach gut health. We teach plant medicine, and we address certain groups specifically. Could be a cultural group, maybe at the Black CEO conference. We can talk a little bit about that. It could be a cancer organization. It could be autism. It could be whatever it is. It could be diabetes. It could be athletes. I love sports. My wife's not a big sports girl, but we've worked with NBA, NFL, NHL, Major League Baseball, Olympic, X Games, all these different athletes, NCAA. If you remember Steve Nash, he was a 2-time MVP of the NBA. Steve actually partnered with my wife and I back in 2010 to help us get this message out there. You see, the first night I met my wife, she told me she wanted to save the world. I thought that was kind of, silly. I didn't know what she meant. Obviously, I know now. And it's just been a huge, dramatic shift in not only her life and mine, but in so many. In meaning, for the last however many years, we've kind of been laughed at. We were kind of looked at like it as woo-woo or, hippies or whatever you want to call it. My wife says we're not really hippies, Sean, because we take showers. So I don't think we qualify. But what we care about is people. And what we care about is that people understand you should be able to allow your body to heal itself. And no one watching, no one there physically in the audience, or no one watching this video is drug deficient. That's silly. We're nutrient deficient. And when the food changed, in our country after, way back, like after World War II, the food changed and our food started getting canned and processed more. Things began to change. And so here we are in 2019, and it's time for change. And maybe it's because Dr. Oz, a few years ago said that there's a big gut-brain relationship, having a healthy gut. And now everyone believes. So I guess whatever Dr. Oz says goes. We don't care, because it's got people seeking now. We're sick of being sick, man. And that's the bottom line. There's so many people out there that are sick. Probably most of you watching, you're either going through a health issue, you're medicated, and there's no judgment here, man. This is all love. Most people in our country, it seems like they're on some type of medication, and we believe there's a time for that. Crisis care, there's a time and a place. So we're not telling people what to do. We're telling people to understand that your body was made in such a way that it can do miraculous things when given the chance, when given the opportunity. So whatever your belief system is, whatever you're in that, whatever higher power, if you have any belief, we call them God's nutrients. We believe, in Mother Nature, and we're so far off the nature, we're off that path. We're away from plants. We're away from things that we were intended to do. Products or food, I should say, we are intended to eat and to consume. And so I want to just start there really quickly. Every time we eat anything fresh and living, it takes nothing. It just gives to the body. There's no pressure on the body. It doesn't tax the body. Every single time we heat our food and cook it, about 116, 118 degrees, we kill it. And of course, processed foods, pasteurized things, drinks, food, those are all dead too. Those are because of the heat or because of the processing, they're all dead. So I'll give you an example. If you eat an apple, you bite that apple and you eat it, you're just giving to the body. You cook that apple and make apple pie, might taste really good, but now you're asking the body to help you break that food down. And what does that mean? Well, what it means is when you, let me back up. If we work with a cancer organization, let's say, maybe down in Tijuana or Cancun or Paris or cancer patients as an example, one of the first things those facilities do is they want to flood the body, certainly detox the body, but they want to flood the body with raw nutrients. Let me grab my drink here. And I'm on a GoPro camera today, so I apologize if anything looks a little bit weird and distorted and funky. But here's a drink for me. Sorry, this is just, it's just raw, cold pressed green juice. That would be considered something fresh and living or raw. So when I'm drinking that, I'm just giving to my body. It's all good. I'm not taking away from my body. If I eat and heat that food that I eat, now we're asking our body to help us break that food down. So let me back up again and say, what does all this mean? Well, here's the deal. In my case, I had all that joint pain, right? And, we're not supposed to talk about all these diseases and things like that. They don't like it. They don't like us talking about this information. And I want you to think about a couple things. I want you to think, always follow the money. Follow the money. And I also want you to write this down. I want you to ask yourself this and remind yourself constantly, at what cost to the body? There is no cost to my body by doing that. I'm putting nature, I'm putting fresh and living plants into my body. Fruits, plants, right? Vegetables into my body. There's no cost to my body. I'm just giving. And you can take basically any disease, sickness, illness, and you can trace it back all the way back to some form of inflammation in the body. Something went wrong over a period of time. Eating all this cooked food, processed food, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, dessert, every day, every week, every month, every year, and all of a sudden something rears its head as some kind of issue. This is not complicated, everyone. This is not complicated. I want you to think about it. When you don't break your food down completely to the smallest usable, absorbing molecule to the body, you're not going to get all the energy from your food. How about getting energy from your food, by the way, and not needing stimulants, high caffeine, sugar type drinks to make you have energy, right? When you're just doing that, it's completely different. You're breaking your food down completely. That raw drink is already broken down. So you're going to get all the nutrients to feed the brain, right? Do we have brain issues now? Of course we do. Anxiety, depression, all these different things. We've got to get nutrients to the brain. And when we eat fresh and living food, that's what we're doing. When we eat cooked and processed food, we're hoping that our pancreas, and this is a big mystery, you guys, we're hoping that our pancreas has enough of these digestive enzymes to break our food down. And what's happening is from generation to generation now, we've been eating so poorly, it's caught up to us now. Now we don't know when we're born how many of this little bank account in our pancreas of these digestive enzymes, how much do we have? And see, after puberty, let's say by the time you're age of 20, every decade you lose about 10% of your ability to digest an entire food group. It's crazy. And the ones you feel that you run out quickly, I guess that you would feel if you run out. If anyone here is watching is lactose intolerant, let's say, or they know someone who is, all that means is they ran out of the enzyme lactase. That's all it is in their pancreas. They can't break milk sugars down, and so they're uncomfortable. Well, guess what? That goes along with everything. In my case, I ran out of protein splitting enzymes. So therefore, every single time I eat protein, and by the way, yeah, protein, carbs, and fats, and everything you eat, even that apple has a little bit of protein. Every time I eat anything cooked that has protein in it, I wasn't completely breaking that down to what my body would recognize as an amino acid. In my body, it was partially doing that, but it was also staying as uric acid, which created what they would call arthritis. My wife says there's no such thing. They have to create a name for a disease so they can create a drug. Okay, follow the money. Always follow the money. So let's look at this. If you can't break down your proteins into an amino acid, it's going to stay as uric acid in the body, in the blood, and it's going to look like broken glass, actually. If it gets real bad, maybe it goes down to your feet, and it's a whole nother thing, right? Because it's going to start wherever your body's really smart. It's going to push it away from your heart. It's going to push it, to the extremities when your heart's having pressure and bad things going on. It's going to push things away. And now let's say it goes to the feet. You see people that have experienced gout. That's no fun, man. You can't walk in the morning. It's like walking on broken glass. when you get up out of the bed, what have you. These are the kinds of things I want you to understand. This is not complicated, okay? I want you to think about this. As an example, I lost my mom to colon cancer. She was 63, 64 at the time. You know, I'm the youngest of 8 kids, and I remember growing up, my mom would be in the bathroom, you know, and at first I thought she was just hiding from all of us, all the chaos. But the real issue was she was hiding in there because she couldn't go to the bathroom, man. She couldn't poop. We talk a lot of poop, by the way, so just get over it, all right? This is not a big deal. She couldn't poop. Of course she passed of colon cancer. See, when you don't digest your food, break your food down, it's going to rot, it's going to putrefy. So you want to get all the nutrients out of the food, but then you want your body to pass and process out what it doesn't want. So we do whole poop seminars. You know, we talk about that, and it's so simple, but we miss it. We always miss these things, and we have to understand how the body works. The body just wants nutrients, right? We should be living on nutrient-dense foods, and we want to process out what the body doesn't want so it doesn't rot and putrefy and start seeping through, right, through the intestinal walls, and now it's into the blood, and then, you know, it just keeps going, and then some things will get into the bones. You have to understand that our blood in our body is our river of life. And so everything does start with digestion when it comes to food and eating. It pretty much takes priority over everything. So the very first thing you could do about healthy lifestyle and preventative sickness or disease issues is A, eat more raw, fresh and living food, and B, take a full spectrum plant enzyme, digestive enzyme, when you're eating your food that's cooked. Man, I don't know about you, but I'm gonna eat cooked food. I'm not gonna eat all raw food. I've done that. That's not very much fun. I love food just like the next person. You know, my wife and I, we're not perfect, man. We don't judge anyone for what they eat. We just want you to understand the difference. You know, you shouldn't be eating all that funky food all the time. Man, it's just not good, and it's inexpensive, and it's cheap. And so we see different cultures and demographics and geographically what's available in certain parts of the country. And we just need to enlighten people to understand we can prevent so many of these issues. We don't need to be sick. Our food is jacking us up. That's one big contributing factor to what's going on with our health. Our food it's just wrong. It's not right. So we got to take a step back and say, all right, I need to eat more fresh and living food. When I eat my cooked food, I need to have a full spectrum plant enzyme so my body will break that food all the way down. So we talk a lot about that. And I want you to think about this. Your blood, if your blood's flowing through your body, and let's say it's going from your big toe, basically a little, you know, not exactly, but let's say from your big toe to your brain in 60 seconds, your red blood cell is traveling through your body to deliver nutrients to the brain. Well, if there's no nutrients to deliver, because it can't, number one, if it can't get through your blood becomes thick and sticky, of course you're going to have brain issues. Of course you're going to create pressure on the body, pressure on the heart, you know. And what do? The first thing they do, and we love our doctors, you guys, this isn't about that, but our doctors, you know, some know, most don't. They're getting better. They're not taught this. They're not taught nutrition. See, way back in the day, our medical schooling changed. Did you know over 80% of what used to be prescribed was some sort of holistic remedy? And then things changed. You know, pharma got involved. The medical university curriculum changed, and if you didn't cross over, if you didn't go onto that side, they were going to run you out, man. They were going to discredit you. They were going to call you a quack if you didn't jump on the drug train, man. And everyone started jumping on the drug train. It's crazy. And here we are, and they just treat symptoms, and they create a host of all these other issues. And all of us, man, the population, of course, not any of you watching and not myself, there's so many sheeple out there. We see these drug commercials, man, it's crazy. Check this drug out, it's really good. Your headache might go away. Your arm might fall off, but your headache should probably go away. And then it's like, what? And people are buying this stuff. We're like, oh, I'm in. I'm going to use that. That's so silly. We can't do these things anymore, man. We got to knock it off. We got to wake up. We can't be sick like this. This isn't right. And this is not complicated. So I want to go back to the body. When you eat more fresh and living food, when you eat cooked food, you got to digest it completely. You got to poop. If you're eating multiple times a day, you should be pooping multiple times a day. Some people don't poop but every few days or a week. Like, come on, that's not right. That's not healthy. Listen to your body. Learn to listen to your body. You know, we grew up, these habits, I think, start early. You know, the guys, the boys, when we were little kids going through school, it wasn't as big of a deal as women. Now, there's more women, it seems like, right, that have pooping issues. And why is that? Well, because they got to have, you know, they grew up in school. It wasn't cool to poop, blah, blah, blah. You know, and they need the right ambiance. I mean, you know, they got to have the right mood. They got to have the music, the lighting, whatever it is, so they can go to the bathroom. That's not good. So, but poop isn't talked about. All these types of silly, fundamental, basic, common sense things we got so far away from. So far away. And your body was made perfectly in a sense that it's looking for ways of preventing and healing itself, and it can do it in such a way where you don't always need to run to these drugs, man. It's not the answer. So what are we seeing now? Well, you know, I was in my mid-30s. I had arthritis. Now we're seeing 6 and 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds with arthritis. Come on, man. What are we talking about? We got babies being born with diabetes, right? What is that all about? Autism. Autism's crazy. I'll be 55 in another couple months. I feel 100%, by the way. I didn't feel 100% in my mid-30s. But autism didn't even exist. Now look what's going on. It was 1 in a million or 2 million, and now it's 1 in and then 100,000 and 50,000. Now you can do your own research. It's like 1 in every, I don't know what. Some research will say 36, 37. Some will say 1 in 50, whatever it is. That's not acceptable. They're saying that if we don't change what we're doing, everyone, that it's going to be 1 out of 2 or 1 out of 3 kids born in this country will be born somewhere on the spectrum. That's not acceptable to us. That's wrong. They're also saying, you know, my wife and I, we're a blended family. We got 6 kids, 7 grandkids. So it's not just about us. It's about future generations. They're saying that our generation is the first generation in the U.S. that's anticipated to outlive our kids. What is that? That's not acceptable either. And so we have to take a step back. We have to understand we can take more of our health into our own hands. We don't have to run and get medicated. We don't have to complicate this. We don't teach anything specific as far as diet. It's just simple. The average American eats about 5% fresh and living food. That's ridiculous. Like I said, our goal is 80% a day. We don't always get there. So whatever you're eating as far as fresh food, fresh and living food, I need you to take that number and start pushing it up and try to reach a higher level or a higher goal. And if you're at 5%, man, take it to 10 and then to 20. But do what you need to do, but start taking that step in that direction. If you're already jacked up, I would go hard and heavy right away, right now, get going. So all of these things are going to affect your health. It's way easier to prevent than to reverse. I was talking about your blood flowing through your body. That's everything. That's your river of life. The first thing that happens when your blood gets dirty, it gets thick and sticky. The doc says, hey, let's put you on a blood thinner. So now your blood can flow better. That's cool. I'll give you that. So now you have thin, dirty blood. Okay, that's better than thick, dirty blood. But how about just digesting your food when you eat it so your blood doesn't get dirty? And then how about sending in some plant enzymes away from food systemically, because they'll clean up your blood. They'll clean your blood, and now your blood's flowing, and now nutrients are being delivered. So I'm going to check my timer. I had a little timer here, but I don't see it anymore, and it's disappearing. So I want to make sure that I don't go too long. I want to be very respectful of your time. There's so many things to talk about. And my goodness, if I've talked that long already, that's scary. So here's the deal. I want to talk to you about something else that's very important. We want to make sure we can prevent these issues. We want to help the body reverse these issues. This is not complicated. I promise you that. We have seen thousands and thousands of testimonials over the years. You guys, we've done this. You know, we used to make products. My wife would help make products for doctors and doctor lines. And then we were in thousands and thousands of stores. And we never had that intention either, because bottles don't talk. It's about education. It's about education. It's not about selling something. It's about enlightening people to take their health into their own hands. CBD, I want to jump into CBD. You know, we've been teaching plant medicine for all these years. It's so important, plant medicine, and we're so far away from it. And we're so grateful right now. We are so grateful that in the middle of December, the Farm Bill passed in the United States. It's just super good, man. Super cool. We've been hiding. My wife and I have been working with CBD for the past 5 years or so underground. We couldn't always be out in the public, and now I can just address this publicly. We're grateful for that. And it's a big shift. The Farm Bill, they're saying, is like an $800 billion shift in this country. It's ridiculous because there's so much going to change with farming and CBD and banking and so on and so forth. But I want you to know the difference. I want you to know the truth about CBD. So here's another thing you got to unlearn to learn, right? So when you're looking at these CBDs out there, typically they're all what are called CBD oil. CBD oil. And here's the thing with that. Most of them were founded or created with what is called hemp isolate. Things that you would make my shirt with. Not so great. Okay, not a ton of medicinal value there. And then some other plants and strains were being developed, and they were all creating these CBD oils. Maybe some of you have tried them. They extract the hemp or the cannabis plant, and they do it with chemicals like alcohol or butane or propylene glycol or a lot of heat or critical CO2, and it's killing the plant like in such a way. They're destroying it, and they're extracting not the good part, by the way. They extract the cheap part, typically the leaves and the stems, and they create this oil, and they ask you to drop it under your tongue. Take it sublingually, like 20 drops. And they're asking you to hold it under there. Just hold it maybe 90 seconds, 2 minutes, a minute, whatever. And I don't know about you, but I've tried these things, and I start drooling. I can't even hold it under there. They're doing that because your body's mostly water, not oil. The reality is you're not going to absorb but say 6 to 10% of these CBD oils. As silly as that sounds, there's still medicinal value there. Okay, so I'm not saying don't use them. There's some medicinal value there. I'm saying I want you to be educated. I want to enlighten you again. We met a gentleman about 5 years ago that he's been doing this for about the last decade, 8, 9 years. He found a way to extract any plant on this planet with no chemicals or no heat or critical CO2. And what he has done is he's created a way to extract the whole flower. And he calls it a fluid. Fluid, because you just drop it on your tongue or on your skin, it just absorbs immediately. 2 drops instead of 20 or 30 drops or 10 drops, whatever these oils are. And so that's really important. You get all the phytonutrients, you get all of these cannabinoids, and basically, you guys, I got to tell you what happened with this CBD thing and why it's such a big deal. You're going to hear this everywhere. This could be your first time hearing it, or you're already hearing it. This is a big deal. I think the biggest thing I've seen in my lifetime outside of like the technology, like with iPhones and things like that. Here's what happened. Our country banned this research of this plant many decades ago. Forget using it. I'm not talking about smoking it or doing whatever people did. You couldn't even research it. And I'm talking a little bit fast for time's sake, but Israel picked up where we left off. And in 1964, they discovered the value of CBD. CBD is the part of the plant, okay, part of like the cannabis plant as an example, that gets you healed, not high. We like to say get healed, not high, okay? I ain't mad at you if you're looking for the other stuff. I'm just saying CBD is not that. THC is a part of the plant that makes you get that high effect, okay? And that has its own medicinal properties as well. We know that. So the government just said in the middle of December, the Farm Bill says if you're below just a trace amount, 0.3 THC, you're now legal to send this all over the country, use the product, that kind of thing. The CBD, it's completely changed its classification, which is wonderful because people need this medicine. And we want you to know that we don't want you to get duped. We've all been duped. I was a straight-laced guy. I never did any of that stuff. My brother scared me straight. I never smoked cannabis or pot or whatever. I didn't know anything about it. I was ignorant. You can look up Dr. Sanjay Gupta about 5 years ago at CNN. He came out to America basically apologizing, saying he was ignorant. He was wrong. And that's when you saw that show on TV. They did the special report. And they were showing all these kids with seizures. They were going for like 70, 80 seizures a day or a week to just a couple or a few a day. And everyone in the country started moving to Colorado because that was the only place you could go legally to take care of your family and your loved ones. And now things have changed. This is a beautiful thing that things have changed. And so what I want you to know, and I think that talk to whoever's there at your event. Let them Ask some questions about this whole flower fluid that's available to you. It's very inexpensive per dose. I think it comes out to a couple dollars a dose, where these CBD oils are usually $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 a dose. It's very different. So if you're going to spend your time and your money on plant medicine, spend it on something that has the full capabilities of helping the human body. That's what this whole flower fluid is. So it's cost effective, and you're going to get results that you're looking for. The biggest discovery that Israel did, not only figuring out CBD, but check this out. All these amazing human beings, all these scholars on our planet, they knew our body had an endocrine system, a nervous system, an immune system, but no one knew, this is the big one, no one knew, write this down, our body had an endocannabinoid system. What? How did no one know this? We have receptors in our body. Everyone watching right now, your body is trying to make CBD right now. No one knew this. So you have these receptors throughout your body. One of the big two, there's two big ones, but the one I just want to share with you quickly is right near the brain. And that's why you're seeing things happen with people with CBD when done correctly, of seizures or Parkinson's and all these different brain issues that are happening. It's amazing. But just picture these receptors throughout your body. They're like little locks. And when you get true CBD, true plant medicine, they're like putting little keys in these locks. And the body starts communicating better. Everything starts to function correctly. See, your endocannabinoid system is kind of like the master communication system right now in your body. It's helping all these things. And that is very important because our body's not working that great anymore, right? We know this. We've seen what's happening. It's from our food. It's from our environment. It's from the chemicals that we're experiencing, different products and different things. They're endocrine disruptors, right? Chemicals are endocrine disruptors. That's like your sexual health. Do we got sexual health issues out there? Reproductive? Yes. Male, low testosterone? Yes. All that stuff. Thyroid issues? Oh my gosh. Now that's all we hear about is thyroid. And at your event, I want you to know something. I'm going to use diabetes as an example. I know that the black culture tends to have higher percentages in certain illnesses and diseases. Diabetes is one of them. Okay, that is one of them. A lot of that, in our opinion, when we go speak and we travel down south as an example, Louisiana, some of these places, a lot of deep fried food. It's harder on the body to just start breaking this stuff down. You need to understand, this goes back to your food. This is not complicated. You know, what is diabetes? The pressures on the body, undigested what? Sugar, fats, cholesterol. You got high blood pressure. You got all these different things. This is what we're talking about with enzymes and plant medicine. You guys can fix this, man. You can fix this. You have to understand that. There's people there that I believe that are going to put this video on and hang out and answer some questions for you. I invite them to give you my wife's information, my information. If we can help in any way, we want to be able to do that. We want you to know you don't need to live the way you're living. Our kids shouldn't be jacked up. We shouldn't be jacked up. We should live a healthy life, a healthy lifestyle. We should enjoy our life. And I think there's a bunch of entrepreneurs there. You guys are doing so many amazing things at this Black CEO conference. Get with these people too. There's probably a way they can help you tap into this market. Did you know they're saying in the next 3 years in the United States, CBD alone is going to do $23 to $25 billion. They're comparing it. They're saying we're going to surpass, CBD is going to surpass Starbucks in the U.S. I can't believe we're comparing things to Starbucks. But anyways, catch a piece of that wave if you want. We need your voice. We need people educated. Let's change this thing, man. We don't have to live like this. You know, and everything we do is about healing the body. How do we get all these athletes? How do we work with these professional athletes and sports teams and trainers? It's because we're helping the body heal itself quicker. It's not us. It's the human body doing it on its own. It just needs a chance. Just needs a chance. I'm so out of time. I talked fast. I apologize. I hope you got something to take away from this. Let's change one person at a time what's going on. It is amazing to start feeling amazing again. And your body's capable of that. We just have got to just take a step back. Let's not get crazy. Let's not start ripping body parts out. Western medicine's so advanced. They're just ripping body parts out here. Let's just pull your gallbladder out. You don't need that anymore. We're not a car. You can't just do that. You know, we laugh, and my wife says, well, at least with cars, they put a new part in. You rip out your gallbladder, you just took your liver's best friend. Now that's going to cause a whole nother host of other issues, right? And that person would need even more enzymes. So I'm going to go. I got to run. You guys enjoy the event. I wish I could be there in person. I hope maybe I get invited back. Maybe next year I'll show up. I'd love to be there. I'll plan it ahead. Get with the people here that are there that can help you with some plant enzymes or CBD information. You guys have an amazing event, amazing time there, and love on each share this information, and we can change people, man, one person at a time. Peace. I'm out. Talk to you soon.